All right, we're live. Welcome back to another episode of Persuasion by the Pint. I'm Jonathan Taylor, along with Mr.
Sean McCool. I'm got to be careful here. I was just pouring my beer, and it's very full, and I don't want to get it on my keyboard. So,
Ooh,
we've had a few of those accidents over the years.
Yes, yeah,
And,
those sticky keyboards, man. They get once that key sticks, it's a little frustrating. I've had that happen on a couple of Apple keyboards over the years we've been doing this.
Yeah, I do love my Apple keyboards, though. They're great. Yeah, we're also going to have a guest on today. We're going to be talking a little bit about AI and how consumers are using that against marketers right now.
Yep.
Kind of an extension of what we talked about last week. And we've got a cool guest that's done some cool stuff. And I won't spoil anything. I'll let you read the bio, but yeah, it should be a fun episode today. So I'll let you jump in.
Okay. So our guest today is Jackson Wightman. That is Wightman. He's the author of the Tech PR Playbook, How to Make Media Love You, Influence People, and Explode Awareness About Your Innovation company. He's the founder of Tech PR and the CEO and GEO agency, Proper Propaganda author, and again, Tech PR Playbook. His company, I should say, is Proper Propaganda. We'll be talking about that today. So should have some really fun discussion today, talking about things like, how to prepare your brand and website for shoppers who are on AI.
Yep.
Why learning how your consumer uses AI is key to market research. So we're going to get into all of that discussion today. I was looking at his website, Sean, at Proper Propaganda, and he's worked with some really notable companies. One is Hover Air, which I followed their Kickstarter campaign back in the day. Once they launched, very cool company, cool product, by the way. We'll talk about.
You got one, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I ordered one. I love it.
Very good. That's Jackson's fault. So if it doesn't work, it's his fault. So yeah, well, let's bring him on. Let's get the crowd fired up, and let's bring him on.
Jackson Wightman, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Will.
Now you can say thanks.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. From you said where are you? You said you split your homes, and now I forgot which area you're in.
So I am currently in Nova Scotia, Canada. My home for the winter, because you all have heard about our fabulous winters in this country of Canada. My home in the winter is Aruba, which is a tiny island right by Venezuela.
Cool. So you're in the.
They keep it hot.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, good. I'm glad you're up where it's cool, unlike here in Austin right now. So, well, Jackson, before we get started and before we do our beverages, give people a reason to stick around. What's some gold you're going to drop, or a good joke you're going to tell, or give us a little teaser.
2 reasons, I think. Reason number 1, I might have some information. If you are a consumer, I assume most everybody does because we all consume things. If you are a consumer, we are going to explain a little bit about how brands are trying to manipulate you if you are searching for products or researching purchases on AI. And if you're a brand, which I'm assuming you might be as well, we're going to tell you how to optimize your presence on AI and ensure that you are showing up the right way.
Good. So we got you covered either side and both sides.
Yep.
I know some of our listeners are both. So yeah. I mean, like you said, we're all consumers. So some of us are business owners, and so very cool. I'm curious to hear that. So let's talk about our beverages. Jackson, you have you've been given a pass for the show, and so what are you having? And tell us the reason why. Jonathan didn't get to hear that in our little pre-show talk.
I'm having a kombucha. It is a Goodmore kombucha rose hip hibiscus. And as I was saying before, whatever is ailing me mentally, physically, and spiritually should now be entirely cleared up. And if it's not, I'm going to the folks at Goodmore Kombucha and I'm going to start kicking ass.
There you go.
That's a good reason.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll get a score on that in a second.
Have you ever made your own kombucha?
I have not, man. That's one of those things where I'm going to trust the professionals because, frankly, I think what I'm going to come up with might kill a human and certainly would kill small animals.
It's a disgusting process. Let me tell you that. Looking at that,
there's a lot of fermentation and explosive possibilities in kombucha that I don't want to mess with. It's like a hot radiator. You don't want to open that at the wrong time, So, Jonathan, what do you have?
I have something called, I didn't pull it up, but it's a Cooler Nights IPA. I know it's they're everywhere during the summer. You can't get away from them. This is a West Coast style IPA brewed with citrus, Chinook, and Columbus, whatever that is.
Wow.
6.5%. I think I've seen this before. It's by High Wire Brewing Company.
This is a decent brewer.
Yeah, it's a decent brewer, but the pickings are pretty slim right now during the summertime. You can't get, you won't find porters, no stouts unless they're aged from last year. There's leftover stock.
Yeah, I think that's what I have.
Yeah, finding a good lager is kind of a challenge right now. So everybody wants these hoppy beers during the dog days of summer. So
that, or you get into the coolers and the seltzers, all that stuff, which
I just as soon drink a kombucha.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm having it's kind of on. I would. This is in honor of Jackson, since he lives on islands, or Nova Scotia and Aruba.
Yep.
So mine is called Danger Noodle Island.
Danger Noodle Island.
Yeah, weird name. And it, excuse me, it's an imperial stout, coming in at about 10%. So I did find a dark beer. So there we go.
Is that Italian?
I don't know.
10%, man. Wow.
Yeah.
Where'd you find that bad boy?
Imperial. Like what is an imperial stout? What is, like, forgive my complete ignorance.
No, that's a good question. We have no idea, but it's usually richer, and I think the brewing process is a little longer, so it ferments a little more. They tend to be a little richer.
More alcohol.
Yeah, more alcohol, and they tend to be a little sweeter too. More often than not.
Sometimes almost as sweet as cough syrup. Sweet.
Yeah, especially the Russian imperial stouts. Those get really sweet.
Yeah.
So, which is weird because
Got it.
All right, well, let's cheers it up to. I
mean, the Russian imperial thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Sean's had one about you like to push the limits. You've had one up around 14% before.
Yeah, for sure. It's almost at that point a liqueur instead of a beer. So, but anyway, well, Jackson, let's cheers it up to manipulating AI, or using AI to manipulate each other, or whatever we're doing. And cheers.
Cheers.
Yes.
All right.
He's got a little bit of lag on his end.
Delicious rose hip and hibiscus, baby. Ooh, afternoon calls for.
That makes the Friday complete.
There you go.
Oh, do I?
So Jackson, you've heard a couple shows. We give this a rating of 1 to 5 pints. Where does this hibiscus on your, or this hibiscus and rose hips fall on that scale?
I'm in a 3.5 range, I would say. It's I'm in like a high mediocre.
Okay.
It's 3.5.
Good. 3.5. Solid. Jonathan.
I'm going to be less than that. I'm going to be at about a 2.7 on this one.
Surprise.
2.7.
Well, this is good. This is probably the best Imperial Stout I've had in quite a while.
Uh-oh.
It's from right around the corner. Save the World Brewing. Let me give them a shout out. Save the World Brewing in Marble Falls, Texas, where there is neither marble nor falls. But cool little town. I'm going to give it a 5. It's my first 5 in a long time.
I had my finger on the button. I knew you were going to say it.
You knew where I was going.
Yep. That's awesome. Those are few and far between, Jackson. We don't give those out very often. So
yeah, very good.
I mean, 5. Hey, everybody, get their hands on some Imperial Stout and cough syrup it up, and let's go. Just avoid Russia.
Right. There you go.
Yep.
There you go.
Stay out of Russia. Stay out of Moscow.
So we're getting. I know you're way out there, Jackson, in Nova Scotia. Out.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure that's the same planet we're on, but so you're having a little bit of a satellite lag or something. But so we'll wait you out. But just so you know, in case we accidentally interrupt you.
Yeah.
But we're still hearing you.
Yeah. Just a slight delay.
Okay. I do apologize. I mean, the Wi-Fi has been okay here, but you interrupt me whenever you need, and don't worry. And
yeah, no, it's good. I mean, we can.
Hopefully I don't see any sort of strange alien figures walking through the garden here. If I do get taken out or snatched away, just fucking call somebody, and hopefully somebody can come get me.
Yeah, well, we're gonna sell the video because that'd be a cool video to post.
That's right.
To see you snatched by something, that'd be cool.
Yeah,
so we hope that happens.
Big good PR for you too. Eventually, if you ever, they ever find you.
Exactly. Well, Jackson, give us a little background. Like, how does
I would have to come back though? That's the return.
Yes. Yeah, that is true. Give us a little background on how you got to where you are and how you landed in proper propaganda and just kind of walk us from, wherever, childhood on up, wherever you want to start.
I'll start because it was such a it's been a sordid path, and I'll skip kind of the more sordid stories. But I came out of politics, so when I was young-ish man, I had the chance to work for a prime minister of Canada, doing kind of issue management and research. And I had absolutely no business doing that. I don't really know how the hell I got the job, but it was one of those things where it was an amazing environment to learn about how media worked. It was not tech, obviously it was politics, but it was a great kind of finishing school. And came out of there and did some corporate work. And then from that, I am an absolute disaster of an employee. I am completely unemployable. So I got fired from a corporate job and decided to start my own agency. And I was fortunate that the guys who fired me became my first client. So
nice.
I think we've been at this now 15 years, and we've had the chance to work with some cool clients and maybe some less cool clients. But generally, it's been a hell of a lot better than being an employee, because I probably couldn't have done that. So I'd be on the street fucking begging for change if I had to do that.
How did that go after you got fired? Was that short? Did they become a client shortly after that, or did it take some time after you, I guess, started out on your own?
It was interesting, man, because the guy was mostly like, look, dude, you're good at your thing, but you're such a dick. Really have you around the other employees. And I mean, he wasn't wrong. So he quickly said, out of the, we will be your first client, but probably you should go make your own little sandbox to play.
Right.
That's it, man. Just get me the hell out of there. Exactly.
Yeah.
And then they retained my services after that. So it was cool. It was cool.
You're just a bad influence. I get it.
That's it. That's it. But so yeah, that's my story. And we it's been fun. It's been fun running the firm and be a partner and everything. Sorry.
So tell us a little bit about what you guys do at Proper Propaganda.
So, as the name suggests, we are in the propaganda business and we kind of come out of traditional PR. We do a lot of media relations work for tech companies. We do other things a PR firm would do. So, that's like brand narrative, helping companies kind of figure out what their story is. And then of late, I think, like a lot of other PR firms, we stupidly realized that some of the work we were doing, particularly the work around generating earned media, that work was influencing, impacting how brands showed up in AI. So for about the last 16 or 18 months, we have been heads down helping clients and indeed doing work on ourselves around kind of how they show up in AI. And it's been super, super interesting. And I know we're going to get into it, but that and media relations are really the focus of our efforts, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had some cool case studies, and we can get to those a little bit later. But Jonathan already mentioned one, Hover Air. But yeah, so want to hear more about those. But yeah, let's talk about AI. I mean, this is what 3.5 years old now, I guess. Since ChatGPT came out. So when did you start making that shift? When did you start noticing that was a real thing that needed to have attention? And then, I guess, start walking us through what you noticed and how you took advantage.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have a keyboard client that maybe some people would know here. They're called Keychron. And they're up against big kind of legacy type players. Logitech is a competitor, Razer's another of theirs. And they started noticing more and more. It wasn't even us. Like it was kind of, as I say, we got into this through no genius of our own. It was a very smart client saying, hey, we're starting to see more and more kind of good juju, whether it's retail partnerships, whether it's other things coming through AI, and as a result of how we're showing up in AI. And so when we kind of looked under the hood, when we got with some monitoring software and got with some people who were kind of early on this, we noticed the earned media coverage we were generating for them, which was a shit ton, was doing a lot in terms of their AI presence. And so that's when we kind of decided to learn about this and get into it. So that's about, I want to say that's like 16 or 18 months ago, vaguely, just when geo was kind of starting to be a thing. And it's been really, really interesting for us. It's given PR, which has always been kind of the redheaded stepchild of marketing, of the marketing world. It's given PR a new lease on life.
Cool. So how did you figure that out? Like what did you see, or just kind of reverse engineer how you kind of figured that out?
For sure. So I mean, there's a lot of options for this out in the world. Your listeners may know some, they may not. If you want to get serious about, if you're a brand, you want to get serious about, okay, how are we showing up in AI? You need to monitor your presence. And there's a number of kind of good tools to do that. The leader in this space is one called Profound. The one we use and the one we like is this one called Scrunch. And so we kind of got on Scrunch after we sort of heard about this anecdotally from a client. We got with Scrunch and we said, okay, let's look into what's going on with this client. What prompts is it showing up in? What is, ChatGPT or Gemini citing when it gets answers, for the prompts that this company are relevant to this company. And we kind of dove in there. And I think that's what I would suggest any company listening that's wondering, like, where do I start? Get good monitoring software. So Evertune is one, Muckrack is one, Profound is one, Scrunch is one. These are all going to do the job, and start monitoring where you are versus your competitors are in terms of prompts, and also look at, what's being cited, what's driving the answers, what's referenced in the answers. That's a great way to start. From there, you can kind of develop, okay, well, if we're showing up here, but we're not showing up here, what do we need to do to show up in the areas we're not? Maybe it's build content. Maybe it's generate more earned media. Maybe it's that our website is, built in some sort of Paleolithic way that, the AI bots can't access it, whatever it is. There's a number of kind of prescriptions that flow from it, but start by monitoring, and there are good monitoring software programs out there.
So this would be like the equivalent of SEO tools from, past and current. Is that right?
Yeah. Yep. So, I think of some of those SEO native tools. SEO was always like a voodoo priesthood to me, man. Like that shit was like dudes around a cauldron speaking in a whack language. Like it was weird. And there's, the SEOs are now in that, but I think, some of those, it's the analog you're using is good. That, whether it's SEMrush or Ahrefs or whatever those SEO native tools are, this is what we're talking about now when we talk about Scrunch and Profound for geo.
Wow.
So I've noticed, like, just in my own like AI, because now AI comes up first when you use Google. Like you get the little AI summary and stuff, and I see the little footnotes and things like that, but I rarely click through. Whereas before, when I had a Google search results, I had to click through to get the information. Right now, I don't really have to do that.
Yep.
So how are you getting people to click through, or is that even the goal? Like what's the goal with showing up in AI that actually shows up on the bottom line?
It's an amazing question, right? So we've all been conditioned. You guys, Sean, you told me your age. I'm 50. So much of my career in marketing has been under the sort of, watchful eye of big tech and Google. And I think a lot of marketers who are even a little younger than us, let's say folk in their 40s or 30s, they've been conditioned by big tech to think that every single dollar can have perfect attribution, right? So we've kind of come through this last 25 years or whatever it is, where that's been the big thing in marketing is attribution, every dollar spent. That was always kind of a stupid thing, right? Like Steve Jobs bought billboards. There's a reason he bought them. It's no billboard has ever been perfectly attributable in the history of humanity and never will be, right? We can say that with certainty, but they still had value. I think what we're seeing with AI, and candidly, the conversations that are difficult that I'm having right now with clients are that it's a very zero-click universe. Very little goes onward, right? The buyer journey can sort of zigzag now, and the funnel's messy, and attribution is like a shit show. So it's kind of hard at this point in time to say, hey, you spent this much on, an entity like us for a geo program. And candidly, that's going to be probably between $12,000 and $45,000 a month at the high end. So 12,000 at the low end, 45,000 at the high end. And we can't give you direct attribution. We can give you other things, and we can absolutely cite research that says, holy shit, yes, your buyers are consulting AI at probably every stage of the funnel, but that direct attribution we've all kind of hooked onto, like, candy canes and heroin, is gone.
Candy canes and heroin. Man.
Yeah. It's a good line.
They go together at Christmas, I'm told. I don't know. It's like a Christmas speedball.
I love that pastime. Candy canes and heroin.
Yeah. Man, we're just getting flagged left and right
the
for
attribution. My joke is a bit stupid, but the attribution thing, I think it was always a myth, right? I think we always knew perfect attribution the way Google and certain kind of performance marketing channels that were what they were explaining to us and kind of selling us was a dream. It was a kind of mythic dream, and a mythic dream that many of us became addicted to. And this is not the world we live in anymore. Attribution is almost dead, I think.
Yeah. And I think even going back to Claude Hopkins' days in the 1920s with the coupon, invention of coupons and all that kind of stuff, even then you didn't have perfect attribution. There's people who saw the coupon and bought, but didn't take the coupon to the store. Like, it's always been a jagged journey. I don't think it's ever been a clean, I mean, the real answer is we spent this much money on marketing and PR, and brand awareness, and we got this much money back in. That's really all you can.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you can really judge.
Yep. I mean, I do think it what is interesting, and you were talking about kind of SEO before, and I guess in my sort of little intro, my kind of teaser, which was probably a less sexy teaser than it could have been, let's be honest. But one of the things that I think is very interesting is it does appear that there is an emerging playbook for how brands influence these systems. And some of the tactics that you saw in old SEO, and I think about software vendors or SaaS products where they would do a blog post where we're comparing company A's product and company B's product, and it's written on the blog of company A. And guess what? It concludes that company A is freaking awesome and so much better than company B. Those tactics and versions of them, like best of lists and things like that, have seemingly survived the SEO era and are now very much a part of the geo era on the content side. And I think, whatever we may think, these are kind of greasy tactics. Like these are Lane Kiffin, if we were using a college football analogy.
Right.
But like they've survived, just like Lane Kiffin, they've survived and thrived.
That's right. Because they're in the, they're always relevant, or they're in the, they're in the spotlight, I guess, so to speak. So
that's it.
Yeah. And it's a cognitive shortcut for the consumer. So that's why they keep working, because it feels like somebody compiled a list, even though it's not honest completely, usually.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, that's
Jackson,
what we gravitate to. We trust lists, right? We trust that. That's kind of that authority thing taking place.
That's
authority
right.
and influence.
I think too. Maybe the kind of crazier thing right now, and this might just be me projecting my own view on things. I don't have data to back this up or anything, but I do think for a lot of people, AI still has this kind of halo around it as a neutral oracle. And so they think when they go and, prompt ChatGPT for what is the best laptop under $500 or whatever, they don't quite realize that in entire teams and very large budgets and smart human beings are working at being the answer in that and are engaging in a range of kind of both fully fine and ungreasy tactics and then greasier tactics to be that answer. And I think consumers may not have caught up to the fact that these things are not neutral oracles. I think they're kind of getting there now. Maybe they're much farther than they were a year ago, but that's something that brands I think can still exploit a little bit if I'm, putting on my warlock hat.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I agree with you. Like and just the way it gives the answer, like when you got a Google answer, you literally saw 10 different answers, right? You didn't see one answer. Like if Google had given us one result on every search, it would have felt the same as what it does now.
Right.
But because they gave you 10, you just knew that there was at least 10. And then you look down and there's 1,000 pages of 10.
Yeah.
So again, taking the cognitive shortcut, people with AI, they're like, yeah, what if we just give people one answer and we just kind of aggregate it and, and it does. It feels like instead of having to do homework and dig through 10 answers, you get one answer. And that feels very good to our brains that want the easiest path.
Thinking fast and slow.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's it's that lizard brain, easy answer.
And I think the tone of AI is so interesting. And you guys would know this, any of the listeners would know this. It has this certainty that it comes with. It sounds very authoritative often. And, if it's not authoritative, it's probably kissing your ass by being a sycophant and telling you how great your ideas are. Or
Great
whatever.
question.
But when it's making records, it's like, yo, dude, I know this answer's right.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, at the beginning of the show, you said we'd talk a little bit about how consumers can use AI, and we'll talk about that side of it first, and then we'll flip the coin to brands. But let's talk about how consumers can use AI, or what to look out for, whatever it was you said. I've already forgotten.
Yeah, no worries at all. Look, I mean, I think AI is an interesting product research tool. I think the consumer should always prompt deeper than just the discovery prompt. So let's just say you're shopping for a new pair of running shoes because you like trail running. You might ask, what are the best new models of trail running shoes? And maybe it's going to give you a Nike and an Adidas and a Puma or something. I think you want to absolutely kind of prompt beyond the discovery prompt. I think you want to say, well, like, tell me about, the Nike Pegasus, and tell me about the negative commentary coming from the Nike Pegasus. Don't just, I think a lot of people stop at the discovery prompt and they don't kind of ask negative prompts down the funnel. You're not always going to get pros and cons. You're not always going to get negative information on a brand unless you ask specifically. And I think specificity is one of the things that is required for users of AI, or else you're going to just get served fucking pablum.
Yeah, no, I've definitely found that, like, it will give you, and AI's told me this when I've pushed on it. It's going to give the most popular consensus view on most things, and you have to ask for, the view that's maybe a little contrarian, or maybe a little bit more niche, right? So if you just say trail shoe, it may give you kind of the top consumer trail shoe.
Right.
But if you're looking for, endurance athlete trail shoe, it might be a totally different thing. So you got to get specific on your query or your prompt.
Yep.
But then, like you said, well, I like to ask questions like, well, what's a really good shoe in this case? Like, what's a really good shoe that nobody's really talking about?
Yeah.
To try to find that undercurrent or startup that there's some buzz about, but it's not consensus mainstream enough to, maybe it's on the other side of the tipping point, to use Seth Godin's term.
Yeah, no, I think that's important. And I think too, one of the things to do if you're a consumer shopping with AI or researching with AI is actually go and verify the citations. So Claude doesn't always give citations, but ChatGPT tends to give citations for most of its answers. It tends to be transparent about that. If your top trail shoe, the question about the top trail shoe is being, the sources being cited are the top trail shoe's brand website. Well, guess what? Maybe take that with a grain of salt. I think looking at citations is also an important kind of consumer hack for not getting screwed because some group of very smart marketers was gaming AI.
Yeah. Like, I mean, the site bestreviews.com, that's an incredible marketing story in itself. They do so much volume, but there's nothing about it that's an honest review site. Like, it's just literally they take 5 products and they just copy and paste Amazon review numbers onto the site, and they get the affiliate commission, and the numbers they do are staggering. But any of those types of sites, the best review sites, all that kind of stuff is definitely, take it with a grain of salt.
I was gonna say there's a couple of Boy Scout sites out there too. Like, I don't know, the granddaddy of them all for me is Consumer Reports. And obviously I'm in the PR business. Like, Consumer Reports journalists are like, whoa, dude, I'm not talking to some PR guy. We test the products ourselves and we buy them and we take them. Jeff Bezos delivers them to our door just like he does the people who read about who read our magazine. Like, they're super godly, holier than thou in terms of their proprietary testing method. Same with, there's a tech site for people who are curious about this called Rtings, like the letter R, TING, rtings.com. This is kind of a newer age consumer reports for tech. They are also, scoutish to the extreme.
That's cool. That's good. That's good to know. What else do we need? What else does the consumer need to know or kind of look out for? And it is interesting what you said. Claude doesn't give citations unless you really ask for them.
Yeah.
Gemini does a good job, probably because
Generally,
it's
it doesn't.
built by Google.
Yeah, I mean, Claude is very interesting. Claude is almost its own planet in terms of generative engine optimization. And I was going to say Claude is seemingly mostly used in B2B context. Of course, regular consumers are using it too, but Anthropic has really put its focus on B2B. And I saw a study from the Ramp, the accounting software company, that came out, I don't know, I think in mid-June. And it said that companies are now spending more in aggregate on Anthropic Claude products than they are on ChatGPT. So that says a lot about where Claude is going, but it really is its own planet in terms of citation and in terms of where it scrapes from. And it's wildly different often than, the results in the citation data that we see for ChatGPT.
Well, with what they're launching with Fable and, they've got Fable and Cowork and Claude Code and all of that stuff that they're building. Like you said, it's all based on B2B type, operations where they're, you're focused on mostly entrepreneurs or business owners, right? I mean, that's their focus.
Yeah. But it is, I find it good. I mean, I don't know. I seem to use Claude more than the others in my daily life, and my own pattern kind of waxes and wanes.
Yeah. I was going to say, I've used Claude probably the most, especially the last year. I started with ChatGPT like most people, then I migrated over to Claude. But recently, just for like more personal stuff, I've really started liking Gemini. I just like the way it responds better. And Claude's starting to get some nanny state characteristics to it, I've noticed. I don't know if that's because they're running with the government and they're trying to be ultra safe or what's going on, but topics that I used to be able to talk about personally, it will no longer talk about.
Really?
So it's interesting. So peptides, for example, I was trying to talk about peptides the other day, and all of a sudden it just shut me down. And
what did it say?
It did that.
What did it say?
Yeah, it was just basically saying we can't talk about that. Like,
wow,
I'm not in a position to, basically medical disclaimer type stuff. But before it would just be like, well, I can't give you specific advice, but here's what the community says, and now won't even do that. It's like, I just can't do that. And I don't know if it's that one thread or if it's just a change in policy.
Just because so many of these companies have come under investigation, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think it's probably, as AI gets bigger, I think, and Jackson, you might know better. You've seen behind the scenes a little bit more probably than we have, but like as it gets more, I mean, we saw the same thing with Google and Facebook and all. They start have to put more and more guardrails around it because more and more people are using it and liability and all those kind of things.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, and we've all heard the horror stories. I think most people have, at least, some teenagers having a mental health crisis or having some trouble, and he or she turned ChatGPT into a therapist thinking that this was a good idea. And all of a sudden, ChatGPT is saying things that precipitate or lead to or correlated with a suicide or something horrible. So I think, there's a range of biases and tendencies within these models, particularly that sycophancy tendency we were talking about, that have caused really high profile news moments for these companies. These companies seem to be universally shit at PR and comms. They sort of dismiss all of this. And I think you were right. We're going to see more guardrails, and we obviously already are. I mean, the news out of Washington every week seems to be about the government kind of clamping down on things, maybe rightly, maybe wrongly. I don't know enough to say yes or no, but there's been some big stuff, obviously, and it needs regulation probably a little bit.
Yeah. And that's really weird because, if you're getting one answer and that one answer is throttled by certain guardrails, whereas, if you had Google was giving you independent thinkers that, had a little freedom of the press and that kind of stuff, but you knew it was one person's thought, right? Yeah. And you could kind of judge and make some things. Yeah. With AI, like we talked about earlier, it feels very authoritative. It feels like it's taking everything into consideration and coming up with the best answer by design, but it's really not. It's just, it has very little context. You know, I like to say it's like a world's smartest and fastest intern. They're really good at finding data and putting stuff together, but they have absolutely no ability to read the room, no life experience.
Yeah.
You know, and that pops up every once in a while. It's like, wow, that was really fast and really thorough, but it was absolutely off the mark.
I think you're absolutely right. It's a very good description, Sean. Like it truly is. And there's a tendency as well. I mean, one of the things that I worry about a little bit is that we all had lots of opportunity to get reps in at our job. And inevitably, you know, I fucked up 1,000,000,001 things on my learning process to kind of getting to where I am, and was able to make those mistakes, but was able to kind of try and think through solutions that eventually failed or eventually worked sometimes. Now, I don't think younger people have the opportunity to get the reps in the way we did. And that might be a little bit of a problem for us and for people at the end of their careers who are now running organizations or running departments or whatever. You know, the people who are coming up haven't maybe had the same rep opportunities that we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that, because, you know, the jobs that are not being filled right now are those entry level jobs, which used to be the training ground, like you said, for people to get reps. So now it's like, if you look, you know, 5 years down the road, you've got that whole group of, you know, first time job holders, and that just isn't there anymore. Like who gets promoted at that point? You know, it's a weird dynamic that is obviously going to the, you know, reacting to the quarterly stock market reports, and not as usual, not thinking 5-10 years down the road, because, you know, they got to hit shareholder profits.
Yeah. I mean, there's value in learning how to write an essay in college, right? And now probably there are at least some cohorts, early AI cohorts of students who were able to get away with, you know, outsourcing that work to others, to ChatGPT and bots. And those are chickens that will come home to roost, in my view. I mean, I don't want to be doomsday. I'm sure that it will probably work out fine, as it often does for people. But somewhere you got to get it in. And if you didn't get it in, you're going to have to do it somewhere else. Get into college, you know? Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
Well,
I was going to say that that experience, you know, I think this younger generation, it's kind of scary that if they're relying so much on it. And I know, you know, kids that go to college, there's some pushback on, like, you know, there's ways that a lot of these, you know, professors and, you know, the staff, they can push back and they can check on how much they're using AI. I think they should be using it to some degree, but like, just to be, you know, doing everything for them, that's a different story. But I think we have to worry about, like that, like Sean said, the next 10 years, where you got a generation of kids that are coming out of college or entering the workforce who have no critical thinking skills whatsoever, and who are looking to, you know, start up in a workplace, and they you know, they're just reliant on everything, like technology doing it for them. I think that's kind of scary.
Yeah, it's a little doomsday, that's for sure. Again, I mean, I think it's one of these things, right? It's the same with, we put a phone in everybody's hand in what was it, the late 2000s, early 2010s, and we didn't know what the hell we were doing, and we put these things in everybody's hands, and there are chickens that are now coming home to roost on that. And I think that's what we're going to see with this. Hopefully it's not so bad. I don't want to be doomsday. I'm not like an anti-AI, or I use it in my work every single day to good effect. Our agency has grown over the last 3 years, yet we have less people than we did 3 years ago. Right. So is that a success? I guess it's a success. So we have grown around 35%. And we have 2 less people than we did. We're a small team. We have a core team of 7.
Yeah.
And you guys mostly work with tech startups, or is that primarily
we are working with tech companies? I mean, we have tech companies. I wouldn't call them startups. I call them slightly sort of more mature than that. Maybe post B round, if I was speaking Silicon Valleyese.
Sure.
And I would say sometimes what we have is bigger companies that aren't traditionally tech companies that think they have a techie announcement or something. So we've worked with Turkish Airlines, we've worked with Esso, brands that I wouldn't call tech companies, but they think they had something, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you kind of niche yourself to tech, and then every company gets a little overflow from outside your niche. You know, that's why, you know, even though people hate niching, you're always going to get some overflow outside your niche. So it sounds like you've gotten some of that.
And I think it's important, man. Like I think, forgive me, I'm going to sound very Canadian here. I'm going to sound even Quebecois because I am a native of Montreal. Niching, as we call it in Canadianese. Niching is a good thing for a lot of businesses. We had trouble doing it because I was scared shitless about, oh, well, we're not going to get this or whatever. And as you said, Sean, we still got some of that stuff that was completely not in the niche, but it allowed us to, I think, appear a little more intelligent because we could go deeper into the work of the niche, into the problems of the niche, into the mentality of the niche.
Yep. Yeah, that's what all the marketing gurus say. So, but it's everybody has the same hesitancy to it when they, you know, when I write copy for people, like everybody's hesitant to make that commitment, but you know, you never lose all the business. You always get the peripheral or just people like you and not just what you do, you know, that kind of stuff. So, you know, all that stuff works. By the way, on niche, I would say I only use the word niche that way. If we're talking about an art niche, then I might throw in the word niche instead of niche. But, you know, but that's just me.
Dude, this is obviously something in Austin. Like this is Austinese now we're talking.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm that
niche.
That's probably just a contrarian streak in me to not want to use the same word two different ways or whatever. So, or it could be the 10%.
I've used it both ways. I've in some groups I've used niche, and then in some groups I've used niche. I think it
depends on which country club you're at that week, right?
Exactly.
There's always two country clubs in a town, right? There's the old money club and the new money club.
Yes.
So depending on which one you're at, it's how you're going to use that word.
Yes. The older club gets the niche. The niche.
Yes. Exactly.
I love it.
I want to hear about your story.
I got to start deploying niche.
So I want to hear about Hover Air, like your work with those guys, because that's a fascinating. I followed that company for a while there, and great product, by the way. So talk about that. I mean, if you would, just because that's a case study on your website.
It is. We came to them, and so Hover Air, just for context for those listening, Hover Air is
cool product,
a kind of follow me drone camera, I would call it. They now have a number of models, and in their category, there's a behemoth, and that behemoth is DJI, who I think anybody who's probably touched drones has either come across DJI knowingly or unknowingly.
Yep.
And so here's Hover Air, and they have a very sort of, you know, a massive challenge in terms of breaking in against DJI. They had, I mean, we were very lucky, and I think a lot of PR companies in tech are when you have a genuinely better product than what the behemoth was making, and this was where we started with Hover Air, with the X1, I believe is the model. So the product was generally better. It was smaller, lighter, faster. Like it had a range of kind of performance things that were better. And we were able to demo it, I think, in very interesting ways and get it into the hands of people who covered the space. And really, it was that product that provided a beachhead for future work and future products. And so, you know, I think when you're up against a big behemoth in tech, you just need some like slight advantages. And if you can get those slight advantages into people whom those advantages resonate with in the media, you can go a long way. And that was really the play with Hover, and it snowballed from there.
Yeah, it always. I remember one of my first copy chiefs. Yeah, I remember one of my first copy chiefs. He said the secret to being like a really good copywriter is to only write for really good products.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's
And,
what did
Man, I
Ogilvy
feel like
said?
that would be
He's
the
like,
same in tech PR.
yeah, exactly.
yeah. Well, Ogilvy said, I don't know the exact quote, but he's like, good marketing good marketing will only make a bad product fail faster just because you're exposing
Yeah.
a bad product. So that's the worst thing you can do.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I mean, Hover was really interesting too, because both DJI and Hover are Chinese. And I think the Chinese, when it comes to consumer tech, and I'm generalizing here, so please, everybody take this with a bit of a grain of salt, because I am generalizing. I think sometimes Chinese companies like to operate with really, really fast speed. And sometimes that can lead to products going to market maybe before they should.
Mm-hmm.
In the case of Hover, we were riding the X1 for like over a year. So there was no ability, there was no chance of a Chinese company kind of shooting itself in the foot. Like, this thing had been out, there was nothing else coming out for a little while. We could really make this the focus and make it the beachhead, instead of cluttering up the space with like 3 other products that might have been rushed to market and sucked shit or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. A good product makes everything easier. And one thing that I think is, David Ogilvy talks about this too, but demonstration is one of the most powerful forms of advertising that you can get.
Yeah.
And products that lend themselves to demonstration are just so much easier to market than information products, or maybe tech products that you can book a demo, but like the initial part, you can't really show a demo, right up front. And this is like you said, like, it just, if you see the demo, it kind of sells itself. Like, it just makes sense.
That's why I bought the Hover Air. I mean, I watched the video. It was like, dude.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's like, why didn't I think of that?
Yeah,
exactly. It's so cool. I mean, I remember we were at CES one year in Vegas, and like, they had a reasonable booth, like not these behemoth booths that Samsung and the others have, but they had a reasonable booth. But I mean, you just got these drones flying around the booth and buzzing, and like, everybody who walks by is going to stop and be like, yo, what is that? And it was very eye-catching. They got a ton of press at CES. But as you said, Sean, like, this is a product that demos and it's so amazing live, and they really, they knew how to play into that, and I think we were able to kind of set up some cool moments for media with that.
It's easy for a reporter or tech author to just to play with that and like immediately get it. Like, you don't have to be a tech person to understand how that is a cool product or those kind of things. Those are the best products for sure. I want to get back to, because I want to deliver on our promises here at the beginning, about how brands, we talked a little bit about how consumers can watch out for some stuff on AI, but what do brands need to be doing with Geo? When we say Geo, by the way, I don't think we ever define that, but that's generative engine optimization, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So what can brands do?
Yeah, man. From a brand perspective, I think, again, the first thing that a brand can do, and where a lot of brands fail, is a brand, before it dips its toe in this pool, needs to go and survey its customers and ask them about their LLM habits, and also ask them about what they are prompting LLMs with, what kind of questions, when they ask them about the category. So why do I say that? The citation patterns for LLMs differ a lot. They're almost each their own ecosystem. So think of ChatGPT cites XYZ, Gemini cites ABC, Claude cites, D, E, and F from another planet. If your customers are on Claude asking about questions, but you're optimizing for ChatGPT and not Claude, you're literally going to just piss your money away. So the first place to start, and it's talked about less in geo circles, I don't know why, is to kind of survey habits and prompt style, because that is going to determine everything from there in terms of optimization. From there, I think the biggest thing where we see the kind of trouble coming, you have 5 realms in geo, right? You have web architecture, you have PR, content, traditional SEO, and then you have metrics. So there's kind of 5 elements to it, the way there's 5 elements to hip hop or something. You need these kids to play nice in the sandbox. These are not kids used to playing together all that much. And so I think from a brand perspective, understanding that this is a cross-functional team you're going to need to put together, and everybody's, we know sometimes web dev and PR people can't really get on the same, can't be on the same planet. You need this to happen. And you have to kind of understand going forward that that's what you're going to be dealing with. So I think those are the 2 absolute keys, and those are the things we see where it goes wrong. Beyond that, there's a number of kind of things that you need to do, from kind of monitoring to building content to building earned media. I won't get into all those, but I think those are the 2 areas, the initial survey and then making the kids play nice in the sandbox, where shit tends to go awry.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. It's kind of like sales and marketing don't get along either. It's like
never,
right?
Yeah,
never
blame each other for everything.
Right. That's right.
Yeah,
marketing's too slow.
Yeah, sales promises too much.
Exactly.
It's always always the case.
Well,
what else have we not talked about, Jackson, that that maybe either you wanted to cover or people need to know? It could be about anything. I mean, if you're a closet Star Wars fan or whatever, like, it doesn't matter. But like, what questions have we not asked that you wish we would?
No, I think that we covered everything. I think that we covered everything interesting related to AI. My only thing, maybe my parting shot on that, would just be that for brands thinking about this, it's a very dynamic realm, and what gets headlines in the tech press and kind of on this relevant Substacks and stuff like that tends to be aggregate data. So, hey, ChatGPT likes to cite Wikipedia, or Gemini likes to cite Reddit. Sure, aggregate data, awesome. I love aggregate data as a jumping off point, but you really have to look at your individual brand data to design a program. Because I can tell you what I see with our agency, and we've been doing a lot of geo work on ourselves, the aggregate data and the rules of aggregate data don't really seem to apply to us. Other rules apply. I don't know why that is, but we see that with our clients too. Rarely do individual case micro level data match up with what's making the headlines in kind of the marketing cognoscenti and the intelligentsia. So I would just urge everyone, make sure if you do get into this geo stuff, which you probably want to if you're a company, that you are looking at your data and not just listening to the intelligentsia and the aggregate stuff.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Good point.
Yeah. I'm doing some content for a company, and I've been trying to wrap my head around the geo stuff as well. And it's still new, so the advice is all over the place, right? And you just you got to try some stuff. You got to, like you said, get the those tools to see what's actually showing up. But yeah, and like you said, and that's a great point about, you need to know which platform your customers are most likely using. Are they using Claude, or excuse me, as you said, Claude? So, or ChatGPT. I mean, I've been watching the World Cup, so I knew what you were saying, right? So I understood. As Americans, that's where I've gotten my, my little bit of second language from, is watching the World Cup. But yeah, it's like, that's a great point. I think that's probably under, we all get in the habit of just thinking that everybody's using what we're using.
Yes.
Yep.
It's just, but that's a great point that, B2B is probably heavier for Claude, and consumers probably a little Chat GPT, and Gemini's, a distant third probably, or Grok.
We have never met a brand that surveys before doing. We have never met one. I mean, that's
I don't doubt it.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it, but it's kooky. That's crazy.
Yeah. So do you then facilitate that survey for them? Is that one of the first things you do?
Yeah, we do. And I can actually, if it's useful, I actually have a sort of big behemoth version of the survey that I can drop with you guys if you want. I wouldn't suggest that everybody field all the questions in the big behemoth, but they could take, whoever it is could take snippets and be like, yeah, I'm going to do this and not this, because it's critical and it's like so underdone and so under talked about.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you know the name Ryan Levesque, but I don't know, it's probably been 10 years ago now. He wrote this marketing book. He's kind of more in the, smaller direct response, kind of that world, but he wrote this book called Ask, and it was all about surveying your clients and customers before you start your marketing campaigns, which seems so obvious, but as you just said, nobody's doing it.
Right.
One that drives me crazy is, Peloton. I'm a longtime Peloton user. I got mine in like 2017.
Yep.
And long ahead of the rush. And to this day, I've never gotten a survey request or a call or anything, an email asking me what I don't like about the classes, the bike, nothing. In what, 9 years now, never gotten a single question about how I like the bike. It's amazing, that it's just crazy.
You gotten a question from Apple?
Terrible.
I mean,
haven't gotten it from Apple either. Yeah, it's great point. I mean,
how do you feel about us taking away the USB ports and forcing you onto the USB-C?
Right.
Yeah, they're pretty clear that they don't care, that they're gonna.
Yeah.
Because they got a 10-year plan about how that's going to work with AirPods, so they knew, whatever.
Yeah. That's right.
Although they did put the headphone jack back in, so that was interesting. But it's amazing how. No, on the Mac they put.
The
headphone jack.
But
they took it out for a couple years.
Right.
But yeah,
they got a lot of pushback on that. But Steve Jobs would have said, "You know what? Go pound sand."
Yep. Henry Ford would have too. So I don't know. But I don't know. I think in today's market, I think you need to find out from. You can ignore what you find, but I think you ought to at least ask.
Yeah. No. I mean, you can learn a lot from just asking questions of your customers, regardless of whether you use that or not. But never hurts to ask.
Well, Jackson, we're wrapping up here, and so where can people find out more about you? I already know the answer, but for the podcast, I have to ask out loud. Where can people find out more about you?
I am at. My company is properpropaganda.net, as it sounds, and my Substack is jacksonwhiteman.substack.com, and then on Amazon, as is being displayed here, we have the Tech PR Playbook, a book that I wrote with my partner in business, and that is still relevant, just despite being sort of at the editor, just as ChatGPT was kind of surfacing onto the world and starting to take it over. So those are the three ways. Properpropaganda.net is probably the easiest way and the best way. And then Substack is also there.
All right.
Well, your book's only like a year or so old, so it's still relevant.
We did it in 23. We released in 23.
Okay.
So, we were just kind of in the mix with the editor as he was coming.
But then it wasn't written by AI, so you got like you could.
That's right.
You could kind of make that claim when you write it. It's like now everybody's questioning, like, did you really write this or did AI write this? So any book
I write every freaking word of the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like a real thing now. Like, and I think at some point people won't care anymore, but right now it's a real hot point for people to know, if something was written by AI. I still think
there's a little bit of a pushback, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
In some areas. Yeah. That's why people are making a point. Even writers, and I'm reading it, writers are making a point to use common language in their writing, like to the point where they're using, some crass language in their writing that normally they wouldn't, just to prove the fact that they're not they're not AI.
Throw a few more typos in there.
Yeah.
I was writing somebody the other day. I was writing an email and I saw a typo in it, and I was like, you know what? It's not a bad typo, so I'm just going to leave it.
Just leave
it for that very reason.
It's smart, man. I think it's smart.
Yeah, and I still think AI is going to end up being a very good writer. The problem is it doesn't have stories to pull, like personal anecdote type stories. When it learns how to do that, like from history or from whatever, that's when it'll jump to the next level of writing. And you can program it to do that now, but it doesn't do it instinctively. It won't pull, if it won't take X topic and say, I wonder what person kind of exemplified this thing we're talking about, and just automatically pull it. When it gets to that point and it thinks like a human does that writes, then it's going to be, that's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
Because it's capable of doing that. It's just not doing it. I'm sure you could create a Claude skill that would get pretty close.
Yeah.
Yep.
But so anyway, well, Jackson, this has been fun.
Thanks for joining us.
1,000 different directions. We might have to have you back on and talk about some more of these case studies that you got. But yeah, it's been fun.
Guys, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Yeah. We'll put you in the green room and we'll close out the show. If you'd be willing to maybe hang tight for about 45 seconds to a minute, and we'll talk to you on the back end.
All right. Cool.
All right.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
The book is the Tech PR Playbook. We'll post a link on our show page. And then a link to their website over at properpropaganda.net.
Yep.
They work with some really cool companies. Again, Hover Air.
Yeah.
Love that company.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, it's good stuff. It's a rapidly changing world, isn't it?
Sure is. So I had an earlier conversation with a client of mine today, and he was talking about like Claude, the B2B aspect of Claude, where
I think it's pronounced Claude.
Claude. Okay. I'm sorry. Claude.
Yes.
Claude. Claude for you guys north of Michigan. But he's using like the co-work, and he's doing the $200 a month thing where he is literally, and this guy runs a business, a manufacturing facility where he's using co-work to replace about 4 people.
Yeah.
Literally.
No, I've heard that. And I've just been afraid to pull the trigger on co-work. Like I just have some reservations, just because I've seen it make enough mistakes in the chat that I'm like, where it makes judgment decisions that I don't agree with. It's not truly judgment, but like I catch it in stuff that I'm like, well, if you were running your own task and you made that same call, or that same leap in logic, that would not be good. So I've been hesitant until it gets a little tighter. But yeah, I know people are doing it. And I guess if you got some clear SOPs and processes, it definitely makes sense. But for the kind of stuff I'm doing, I'm just not there yet. But now I've heard that, and I know some people doing that are doing some amazing stuff with it. So
yeah, well, he's building Fable, and Fable 5 coming out. That's something new. But yeah, it's amazing because he's telling me his story about basically creating a operating software within their company that replaces some of the existing software that they've used in the past, whether it's SysPro, and I think it's crazy where we're going, because any company that's operating, that's selling software today, and that's what they're doing, they're in trouble.
Yeah.
So
for sure. Yeah. Well, I see Jackson just left the green room for a minute.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you must have bored him. So we got to wrap up.
Episode 439. You
Yep.
check us out, persuasionbythepint.com. Check us out on all your favorite platforms. We do have a guest next week. I think we've talked about this. We're going to get back into, we'll be highlighting what makes certain films or the marketing of certain low budget films. Like we talked about, I think it's Obsession.
Mm-hmm.
And there's one other flick out that was kind of a low budget that went big at the box office theater. So we're going to be talking with a expert on that next week, who is going to be sharing with us how to bootstrap and how to market low budget films. And
So we will not be talking to Christopher Nolan.
No, he's not on the list. That's probably the next episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
how to
that's
spend everybody's money and as much of it as you can to make your movie.
Yeah.
It'll be different.
Odyssey. When does that come out? When does Odyssey
next
come out?
week? Either this week or next week.
Okay.
I think it's next week, the 17th, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like we should have him on. Like how to persuade people to give you all their money. That would be his podcast.
He's got a nice track record, so that helps.
Yeah, that definitely helps. But
every film that he's done, I don't think it's
a big hurdle.
There's not too many doozies.
Yeah. Yeah. So they're getting good. They're doing a good job with PR and controversy, and they're stirring the pot about they should have picked this person and to play this person, and it's good PR right there.
It's absolutely.
And
negative press is absolutely, as long as people are talking about you, that's the major thing.
Yeah. So
regardless of if it's good or bad, you just want people talking about you.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's not keep Jackson waiting. Let's talk some college football with him after the show.
All right. Have a great week. We'll see you next week. Take care.
See ya.